Hello and welcome to Immortal Behaviour for this week.
So while he's an out-and-out champion, you can't coach what he's doing.
Andrew kicks back and across. It has been a freakish kick by Andrew John.
Give me Father Fry instead.
Maybe God has come to Marathon.
Well, welcome to another episode of Immortal Behaviour. I love the t-shirt this morning.
Still City.
Still City. Yeah. What does it say? Reward yourself.
Yeah. Makes you dance better. Makes you do a whole lot of things better.
Makes you chat better.
Chat better, yeah.
Yeah. It's got you.
Seal the deal. Still City.
All right, well, let's get stuck into some footy. And the big news this week, Jack Whiten announcing that he'll be joining the Bunnies from next year. A huge get for South Sydney. But what does that mean for South Sydney and for South Sydney fans? Because one of the things that Jack Whiten has said is that he wants to win a premiership. That was the reasoning behind a lot of his decision.
I think they're a huge hope this year. But you put Jack into that team. Look, he'll start at left centre next year. Yeah, all going well. But then eventually, I think he could move into the back row. We see a lot of centres at the end of their career go into the back row and very successful. And Jack's got all the attributes. He's a winner. He's tough. He competes. He trains hard. He wants to win. He's a team man. You could play Jack anywhere. But to start with next year, he'll be left centre. And left centre. That's their favourite side, running off. Cody, Latrell, and now Jack on the left. Wow.
So that was a big motivation for him, winning a premiership. What did it mean for you to win a premiership?
It means everything. It's the ultimate. And from team point of view, it is the ultimate. It's why you play footy. It's why you make so many sacrifices. It's why you train so hard from October through to the next September to get to that. And it is the ultimate, and these are your best memories. When you think about club footy, you think about winning big games, you just think about winning premierships. Look, people are jumping up and down. The only thing I hear about Jack leaving, the only thing I'm hearing is about money. Well, I can imagine Jack's not motivated by money. He's not a flash Harry, he doesn't drive around in fancy cars and that sort of thing. He's a boy from Orange and, he's a humble young fella. I think the big thing he wants to tick off is winning a premiership. And I can understand that. Because you hear players who went through their whole career, like superstars, and don't win premierships, and you hear them, you can hear the hurt in their voice. It'd really sting, it'd really hurt. At the end of your career, Jack's done everything. Australia, State of Origin, Clive Churchill, this and that. He wants to win a premiership.
What about for you, because you did everything, all those awards that you won and State of Origin and whatnot, how much higher was a premiership for you?
Well, it is the ultimate. From an individual point of view, for yourself, representing your state, for me, is above Australia. I think everyone knows what represents New South Wales for me. It's funny when you think about it, representing your state is higher than playing for Australia. And obviously captaining my state, captaining Australia, but winning a premiership. Winning a premiership is above all. Look, winning Dally M's and that sort of thing, look, it's great, but pales into insignificance of winning a competition. Totally. I think back in my career, it's all about winning Origins, winning grand finals, winning test matches. Dally M's and all that stuff doesn't even come into it. Doesn't come into it.
It's funny it's interesting. Like some people who have played the game for, put their bodies on the line, they'll never have that feeling.
Well, you think about the superstars who've never. Steve Rogers was superstar at St George and Cronulla, never got to win. Andrew Eddinghausen's, Nathan Highmarsh, these sort of Nathan Kalis when he's, people take the mickey out of Hindy, but you can see it hurts him.
Yeah.
Poor bugger. Anyway, sorry about 2001, Hindy.
Can you, normal people, I would never know what that feeling of elation is like when you have worked an entire season, put everything into this, to then have that ultimate prize at the end of winning the grand final.
You can't describe it. I'm trying to think to put it into words. You can't describe it. 97, I cannot remember. After the full-time hooter, I can't remember the victory lap. Can you imagine the adrenaline and just the emotion that's going through your body? I can't remember it. It was just, I was numb. 2001 was a little bit different. I can remember the victory lap and I can remember this and that. But 97, I cannot remember the victory lap or anything like that. Look, I remember Darren Albert scoring, and then it's a blur. It is an absolute blur. You can't put it into words. You cannot describe how much it means. Not only to yourself, but your family, people of Newcastle. It is just, I can't put into words how great it was.
I wonder if there are any other career paths out there that you'd feel such a elation like that, apart from like the sporting world and especially
other than
teaming,
sport.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't really been involved in anything other than sport.
But I can't imagine anything to be
you know
like
what?
that.
When you think about it, you think about the way you feel. Maybe that's, when players retire and they really struggle.
Oh, yeah.
It's chasing that feeling. You're chasing that feeling again. Because you can't replicate it. You can't replicate it artificially. It's, I can't put into words what it's like.
I actually spoke to, last year, the opening of Allianz Stadium. Cam Smith and I were out in the middle of the field in our pre-show, and you could just see he was buzzing. He turned to me and he said, "This is just such an amazing feeling," and he goes, "I would do anything to be running out in this," and that's what we were saying. There are some people who in life will never experience that, but then you have the opposite where you have experienced that, and then knowing that you have experienced it and you can't you're not going to have
just
it again.
Everything, the week, the build up, coming down on the bus, even before the game, half an hour, it's hard to sort of remember. But after the game, it's just unbelievable.
Oh, well, hopefully for Jack Whiten that he gets
good
to
luck, Jack.
experience
Good
that.
luck. And as I said, money isn't everything to people. That's all people are jumping up and down with about the money. Maybe he wants to do something different, live somewhere different other than down in Canberra. He's got a young family. Good luck to him.
Maroubra could be the
Yes,
reason.
buy a surfboard.
It's a good place
Get a
to
bra
live.
boy tattoo.
Hey, not all Maroubra people have
Okay, you got one.
all right, Sam Walker. Interesting situation at the Roosters at the moment. He hasn't been named again this week. What do you make of the commentary around Cooper Cronk's coaching impacting Sam Walker's development?
Well, unless you're in there day to day and seeing what's happening around the club, look, Cooper would be helping Sam, but I think ultimately the big one would be Trent Robinson. I think everyone, if they look at the styles, you look at Cronk and then you look at Sam, they're poles apart. I was talking to someone the other day about it, and the analogy I had is if Latrell Mitchell went to Penrith, he couldn't do what Dylan Edwards could do. And then likewise, if Dylan Edwards went to South Sydney, he can't do what Latrell can do. So it's the ability to identify the strengths and the weaknesses of the players and bring that out. But unless you're there day to day, it's hard to comment. Look, people are speculating and, it's been a bonfire of opinions and that sort of stuff. But until you're there, it's sort of hard to comment. But, you look at the styles, they're poles apart. What sort of players they are, the way they play.
Can coaching, if you're a naturally gifted player and you're used to playing a certain way, can some coaching and being in certain structures impact your growth and development?
Definitely. And when you got a player with so much natural talent, look, from my experience working with Kalen Ponga, look, Kalen can do things on the field which no one else in the world can. There's probably only a tiny select 3 or 4 or 5 players in the world what Kalen can do. So you don't really coach Kalen. You can give him tips and this sort of thing. You got to coach the players around him to understand why he's doing it. And sometimes you sit down Kalen and say, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "Well, I don't know. It's just natural talent, absolutely off the charts." It's the ability for the players around him to understand what he's doing and why he's doing it, so everyone's on the same page. But someone like Sam, he plays with incredible creativity and width and ball movement. He's a risk taker. He's impulsive the way he plays. His instincts, he just backs his instincts. If he thinks he's going to kick on play 2, he does it. That's why I love watching him. That's the way I like to play. If I saw an opportunity, I'd do it. I couldn't care less if it was playing in Origin and we're down by 4 points or we're up by 20. You just back yourself and play.
So then how do you see this situation playing out? Because I can imagine, so Sam Walker is someone who, he's still a young kid, but he's been in Maroon's camp, so he's been in State of Origin camp.
Well, 2 years ago he got man of the match at 18 in the Anzac Day. He's a freakish talent.
If Luke Keary and Joey Manu play out, the remainder of the season, I don't think Sam Walker's going to be happy playing New South Wales Cup, considering the skill set.
I have no idea what's going to happen. But the short term, it worked the other day. Keary and Joseph Manu look really dangerous together. The Roosters are up and down in their form, well, up and down in the game. They look unbelievable for 20 minutes, and then they're poor for 20 minutes. But short term, that is injury free. That's the combination moving forward. So where that puts Sam, I don't know.
What do you make of some discussion that the Roosters' problems could stem out of the poor service out of dummy half?
No, well, I think it's got some merit. I think it's more about combinations and, once again, understanding the way each player plays. Look, Brandon Smith's a running dummy half. I thought it was his best game for the Roosters on the weekend. Actually, I gave him my man of the match. I thought he was man of the match, the way he defended, but his threat out of dummy half. But those combinations take a while. But he's not your classic Reid Marnie. If you watch Reid Marnie, his balls are like little arrows and they hit the mark there. He's more of a running dummy half, which is more of a threat. But they'll work it out.
All right, well, let's move on to the Seagulls. And Josh Schuster's hasn't been selected this week.
So is it the talk that he has to work on his body?
So DCE has spoken in the paper this morning, and he says, in reference to Schuster's dropping, he says, this is rugby league, mate. If you're not willing to work hard enough, if you're not willing to sacrifice, you just don't last long. So Schuster started the season with a calf injury, so he didn't play early on, and then he played that game at Brookvale Oval.
He shot the lights out. Was that the Bulldogs?
The Eels? Was it against the Eels?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a really good game.
His ball playing that night was
Brookie.
just off the charts.
And then he had a quad injury, and then he came back on the weekend against the Tigers as well.
Well, he's one of those players, everyone can see that his fitness is going to be a challenge. And you talk about being a professional athlete, a professional rugby league player. It's not when you turn up to training. It's 24/7. It's the way you prepare yourself for training, what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you're not drinking, when you're going to have a beer, the way you treat your injuries. It's a 24/7 thing. Like, what I find hard is players who play for a certain club and live a long way away. Sitting in cars for your body, sitting in an hour of car either way, it can be quite detrimental to your body. So that's one thing I find difficult to understand. I was lucky in Newcastle, everything's within 10 minutes from home. But I think we can all see Josh's talent. I spoke to him last week.
And there was a really interesting...
And I hit him between the eyes with it. I said, mate, everyone can see one of the most naturally talented players, but there's a long list of players with natural talent who didn't make it because they haven't reached their potential, because they haven't worked enough. And he actually said, I get told that all the time, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, he said, do you know how many times I've heard that throughout my career? Which, that's a...
Well,
that's a little concerning.
Last year, he told me his weight ballooned right out. I won't say the number he said, but it's a big number. And look, Josh is one of those players, there's different people in the game that they can have problems with their weight. He just has to be so diligent in the way he prepares and the way he sacrifices he has to make in his lifestyle to get the best out of him. And look, he's a huge young man. When you stand next to him, you realise how big he is. And look, I played with players who had so much natural talent and just, for whatever reason, didn't make it. And, did make it, but should have been at the top of the tree for 10 years. So, wish him all the best. But the coaches and the conditioners and the club, they can't be there 24/7. So ultimately, It comes back on Josh.
Is it like, is he naturally too big? Like, should
I
they
don't
be
think
looking
so. No.
or is that his position? He should be
He's-
playing that position.
Look, he's been gifted with athleticism, but the most natural talent and vision and hands. And look, I spoke to him in that interview. He's grown up with the footy in his hand, so it's not all natural talent. He's worked to a certain extent. But when you're in the truly elite NRL, you have to tick pretty much every box. And if he goes away and works on his body and gets rock hard fit, then you'd see a totally different player. Totally different player. So I wish him all the best.
Well, this could be the thing that sort of shocks him into
It's the old
really
saying,
doing
talent
something.
only gets you so far. And you talk to the Melbourne Storm, they don't recruit on talent, they recruit on character. And if they get the right characters, they mould them into certain players. And they go back to schools. They go back to their schools and talk to their teachers and their principals and ask what sort of person they are and, you know, the characteristics of their personality. It's no fluke. They get these players on the scrap heap and turn them into NRL players.
All right, let's move on to Regan Campbell-Gillard. Huge loss for Parramatta. And there was some thought that he could have had the opportunity to play State of Origin this year.
He was thereabouts for sure.
Would you have
I think
backed him in?
He's right in the conversation. Look, Junior Parlow and Payne Haas pick himself, those two, but then he's in the next lot with the Safidi brothers. Let me think. Jake Trebojevic. I think Jake's a certainty. But he's in the argument with the two Safidis and around that other middle position on the bench.
I have to say, I felt so sorry for
Did you see
Regan.
the pain he was in? And he had to go up the stairs.
He had to, so when he came off the field in Darwin, they had to walk up the stairs. He couldn't get up the stairs. And then the next day on the plane coming on, so I bidded for an upgrade and I won an upgrade on the plane coming home. And so I was in business class and he came on the plane.
So surely you gave it up.
And I offered it. I did offer it. I said, he was walking on the plane, he's limping, and he turned to me and he goes, I asked if I could move into business and they wouldn't let me. And I said, you can have my seat if you want.
Well, there's some good karma coming for Danica.
But you know what?
It's a big loss.
Yeah.
It's a huge loss. And look, it's one of those hip drops from Payne. I think Payne got suspended for a few weeks.
1 week, yeah.
I think it was totally accident. It was just all momentum, but geez, it looked painful.
And it just got in the wrong spot and he had that weight on him and it was wishing him all the best. And just lastly, huge news today with the NRLW. Every single NRLW game will be live and free on Channel 9 and 9 Now for the upcoming season.
Oh, it's sensational. It needs to be on free to air. I think everyone knows about sport. It has to be on free to air. And in a short time, the viewing and the improvement of the NRLW has been huge. From when they first started, the athleticism, some of the women who are playing is just extraordinary. And one thing the NRLW has over other sports, it is sensational to watch. You watch some other sports and it's tough to watch. NRLW, it is, and I think it's got a following of its own. And there's a lot of talk about pay gap and genders. If we want these women and young girls to earn the money similar to the NRL players, mums, grandmas,
take them to the games,
cousins, daughters, get out and watch, get out and support them, because some of these girls are absolute superstars. I've said publicly about Jess Southwell, who I work with in Newcastle, the young halfback. She's a superstar. She potentially has the ability to be the best player we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I love watching her play. And for Newcastle last year when they won the competition, they got such a kick out of it. It's a shame we've lost Millie Boyle. She's the best leader in the club, by far.
Well, the Southwell sisters
They're signed for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. It's huge for Newcastle. Local girls, that's what the club is all about, building local juniors, and they're one of them. And look, Jess Southwell, her appetite to improve. I talked to her quite a bit and work with her this off-season. Hopefully she goes to another level this year. And it would be great for the girls, NRLW, to go back-to-back for the Knights.
But it's true what you said. The only way that the game's going to grow even further and
We've got to go and watch.
Increase that the pay and everything is that you go watch. You watch it on TV. You watch it on
get the ratings up, and You know, if that happens, then they get more exposure to the media, and we make superstars out of these women and girls, and eventually, hopefully, they TV ratings can get up there the same as the men, and they can get paid to be professional.
State of Origin, women's State of Origin TV ratings, they're really good.
It's a great product. Yeah. It is a great product, and please, no wrestling coaches, because the game is fast, it's open, there's ball movement, it's entertaining. But get out and watch. We have to go and watch. Get people watching, going to the game, watch on TV, get the ratings up. Because then we can talk about getting the girls and women more money so they're fully professional. And when they're fully professional, then the game will go to another level. So get out and support it. And well done to Channel 9.
Women's State of Origin as well.
I want an upgrade too. Actually, I just signed again. No,
Women's State of Origin's getting launched today as well. So they're going to have a game at Combank Stadium and then in Townsville as well.
Well, there it is. Pack the stadium out. Yep. Pack it out.
Yep. Make sure you can. Yeah, so tickets are on sale today. So make sure you get in fast. All right, well, that's all we have time for. Huge game, a huge round this week coming up. So
trying to think of any morals. I think Cronulla will be hard to beat tonight.
The game I'm looking forward to, Bulldogs and Dragons on Sunday. That's the one.
Well, Freddie's tipped the Bulldogs.
So I'm in 2 tipping competitions, and I tipped the Bulldogs in one, and I tipped the Dragons in another one.
Nothing like an each-way bet.
I play it safe.
Actually, the Brisbane South game.
Oh, that's a huge one. That's a huge one.
Although no Payne and no Ezra Mann, you think South will be hard to beat up there. Interesting too, Wagga. Canberra taking the game to Wagga.
Yeah.
Congratulations. How the Jack Whiten stuff will affect the ratings.
Yeah,
so they've got the Dolphins down there.
Yeah.
I wonder how the Dolphins will go. Well, there's no salt water down at Wagga.
Yeah, Dolphins
don't like.
Oh, but they can still breathe out of water.
Okay.
So
that's my mascot.
What,
who would win the fight between a raider?
A dolphin and a raider.
Oh, no, the raider wins
have
for
you
sure.
Have you not seen?
It's a bit like a Viking.
Have you seen the evil dolphins though?
Yeah, but a Viking back in the day, no one messed with the Vikings.
Yeah, but the evil dolphins, is it the Simpsons that have the evil
dolphins?
dolphins?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but they're nice dolphins. Wayne makes them nice dolphins.
Oh, I don't know.
Watch out.
See them come back.
Watch out for the Vikings in Wagga.
All right, that's
but
all
well done to Canberra taking the game to Wagga Wagga.
Wagga's a great place. Yep. You'd want to go out in Wagga after a win, that's for sure.
Well, David Barnhill, the Canberra back rower, where did Barney go? Did he go to St George? He owns a pub there.
Oh, okay.
William Farrer. Get the William Farrer.
Yep.
But do it responsibly.
Yep. It
must be a good place, Wagga. Any place they name twice, Wagga.
Wagga.
Yeah. Curry.
Had some
Woi.
uni friends down in Wagga Wagga. Woi.
What else? Curry.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see you next week.